but I have to get to Seth Greenberg, the former college coach, ESPN college basketball analyst, kind enough to join us on the program. Seth, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Give me the most surprising Elite Eight team.
It's got to be Oregon State. Now, it's funny because Oregon State's won 9 of their last 10, but I mean, that's a team that came in basically sixth place in the Pac-12. That's a team that was picked to come in last preseason. That was a team that kind of reinvented themselves along the way. And it's a great story because Wayne Tinkle, the coach, he had his son for 4 years, couldn't get to the NCAA tournament. His son graduates, and all of a sudden now they're in the tournament. But I think it's a great story. It's been fun to watch. And quite honestly, their team is playing really good basketball. Not pretty, but winning basketball.
The team that didn't advance that surprised you the most?
The team that didn't advance that surprised me most is probably Florida State. Florida State was a little bit of a conundrum for me because I look at Florida State and I see a team with length. I see a team that, most times didn't defend yesterday, obviously. Had a lot of different ways to beat you. I just thought their game plan yesterday was so different than what I expected. I expect them to attack Michael Smith on the block, posting up different guys because they have the versatility to do that. I thought defensively early on, you saw that you could not attack that ball screen by switching it. Michigan was exploiting it, creating matchups all over the floor. They never made a change there. So I was disappointed in Florida State, maybe selfishly because I'm a big Leonard Hamilton fan. And I was hoping to see him get a chance to play in the Final Four because I think he has a special team.
How does Gonzaga lose?
If someone can get Timmy in foul trouble, you get Timmy in trouble, you got to make Timmy defend. I think that's really important. Certain things you got to do to beat Gonzaga. You got to take care of the ball. You got to take good shots. You got to have a 4 that can guard Kispert, and you've got to make Timmy defend. If you make Timmy defend, and that's why Michigan's an interesting matchup for them, and even maybe USC. But, Michigan especially, because if you make him defend and go at him, which Michigan can do with the way they play offensively, playing through him, you take him out. They don't have any really replacement for him. Now, look, they get a shot up every 14 seconds. They get the ball. And Kispert, every time he shoots it, you think it's going in. Suggs, I think, is the number 1 pick in the draft. They play with incredible flow. But I think that's the one way you can get after them is by playing through the post. And I'm really interested to see what USC does with their length and with the zone, their ability to cover, their ability to get some extra shots, their quickness. I mean, you're talking about a team that averages 50 points a game in the paint and a team in USC that allows the fewest points and is the best 2-point percentage defensive team in basketball. That will be just kind of a game within the game that I think will be interesting to watch.
So you think Kispert's the number 1 overall pick instead of Cade Cunningham or Mobley?
Suggs. I think Suggs is the number 1.
Oh, Suggs, I'm sorry. So Suggs,
Yeah,
number 1 pick, and Mobley, Cunningham in the mix there?
Yeah, I think I would go Cunningham second. I would go Mobley third or fourth. Here's my concern with Mobley, and I love him. I love how hard he plays. I love the type of teammate he is. I love.
Do you need to get that phone call?
No, that's what happens at the home office. I don't have a fancy studio like you now. I'm just sitting in my office. Jake the Wonder Dog cannot answer the phone.
Is there anybody that you would stop the interview to answer? Like if Bill is called, would you answer?
No, I would actually ignore that for a long time. All I'm going to hear about is, how the NCAA's messed up. We need to pay guys. Mark Emmert needs to go. I keep on telling Bills, Emmert's so bad, take the job. Everyone wants you to take the job. I said it would solve 2 problems for me. No, hey, Bills is the best. He's so much fun. He's so funny that he doesn't even realize he's funny sometimes.
He's passionate.
Yeah, he is, and everyone's got a cause, and this is something that's important to him. But I think USC. I wouldn't take Mobley ahead of Cade. I think the ball's in Cade Cunningham's hand. Now, the one thing Cade Cunningham's not the athlete Grant Hill is. A lot of people compare him to Grant Hill. I don't see that. Now, I do see a lot of Jason Kidd and Jalen Suggs. That pass he threw with his left hand off that ball screen yesterday was out of this world. I also love his toughness. I love his leadership. I think his game just translates immediately into the NBA where he can be a winning point guard.
We're talking to Seth Greenberg from the Mothership. Indiana hires Mike Woodson. Not inspiring. He hadn't coached in college. I know there's, the legacy there, being an IU player. But is Indiana Indiana? Does Indiana know that Indiana is not Indiana anymore?
No, I don't think they know. I don't think they know they're not Indiana anymore because they haven't been Indiana basically, since Coach Knight left. Really, if you look in terms of the consistency of competing for a national championship. Here's what I think: Mike Woodson will have no problem coaching college basketball, coaching X's and O's, putting guys in position to play to their strengths. The key is going to be, and look, Thad Matta is a nice move by the university. I don't know if that's Mike Woodson's hire or the university's hire, because if it's the university's hire, it's a bad move. Mike Woodson's got to have his own staff. Now, I would sit with Mike Woodson in the interview process and say, all right, coach, we have no concerns about you coaching, but there's a business of college basketball. I don't know if he had kids that played grassroots basketball, but you better have someone who understands grassroots basketball. You better have someone who understands the transfer portal. You better have someone who understands just the day-to-day things you deal with as a college basketball coach. Now, Juwan Howard, his sons were heavily recruited. He understood grassroots basketball. He hired Phil Martelli to sit on his bench to kind of help him navigate, not coaching. I mean, because look, Juwan Howard, think about the apprenticeship he spent. Spoelstra, Riley, the coaches he played for. That's not going to be the issue. It's the day-to-day operation and dealing with the day-to-day static and minutia and that goes around being a head coach in college. It's just different from the NBA. So I would, in the interview process, I'd say, hey, we got a guy that played for Knight. We got a guy that won championship. We got a guy that can galvanize a lot of the people that haven't been here. Coaching's not going to be the issue. NBA pedigree, NBA coaching experience, all the things young players are looking for today. What's your staff going to look like? Not you're going to have Thad Matta, and Coach Matta is great, but handing him that guy to oversee him, he's a grown man. He's 63 years old. He's coached the best players in the world. Do you want a guy over your shoulder, basically, or do you want a guy that you chose to share this experience with at Indiana? So I think he'll hire a former NBA or a current NBA player development guy that wants to get in college. You would think he would hire another coach with college experience, probably have someone involved that has ties to the university. But, here's the thing. You're only as good as the players recruit and your players develop. And part of recruiting is evaluation. I think Indiana's got to go back to evaluating players that can play and win. Like I thought that, like Matt Painter's figured it out. Now, here's my question for everyone. What Matt Painter has done at Purdue, is that good enough for Indiana, how they perceive themselves now?
Yes. Yeah.
I think Indiana fans think they should be at the Final Four. I think Indiana fans are similar, even though they haven't had success, to Kentucky fans.
Yeah, but Seth, they see those banners and then they think that somehow they're entitled, and it doesn't work. These kids don't go, gosh, I would love to play for Indiana because whatever. That's not the way it works. It's what's the style, who's the coach, who's going in there with me. Do we have a chance to win? And they might be there for 1 year, but I just think that Indiana forgot who they were. And I would have stayed with Tom Crean if look, this is where they are. What about Texas? What's Texas going to do? Was Shaka smart? Did he jump before he was pushed?
Yeah, I think he made the wise move. Look, Shaka Smart to me wasn't, as it developed, wasn't a good fit. Because Shaka Smart is a guy that lights up the room. Shaka Smart's a guy to coach this guy's hearts. Shaka Smart's, his DNA and the DNA of Texas in general just didn't fit. I think going back to Milwaukee, going back to his home state, going back to coaching the way he coached his VCU kids, going back to getting those type of kids. Like at Texas, you got to recruit the best player in Texas. You got to recruit the top 5 guys in the country. You got to recruit certain guys. Shaka Smart was better when he had junkyard dogs. Shaka Smart was better when, they played with a chip on their shoulder. I never saw the Texas team play with the passion and the energy that his VCU teams played with. So I would like to see him go back to his roots of what made him special as a coach. Now, guys that should take that job, look, Chris Beard's the number one guy. I go watch Chris's team's practice. I speak to his team. His energy is enthusiasm. But Chris Beard's situation and ownership in Lubbock might be far greater than the ownership of people in Austin. It's just a difference of the two communities. If I couldn't get Chris Beard, I would look at Eric Musselman. I would look at Bruce Pearl. I got all that money. If nothing, I'm getting those guys raises. But if I can get him, what do you need at Texas? You need someone to excite your fan base. You need someone to create ownership. You need someone that understands the use of social media. You need someone that understands a playing style that people are going to be excited to come watch. I would get the highest energy winning coach that I can find that can infuse a passion and an energy into the program moving forward.
When you were coaching, what's the best performance you ever saw?
In terms of my team?
No.
Or individual team? Best performance against us? The best performance, well, Hansborough, probably, I wouldn't be talking to you right now if he didn't rebound a missed shot on a free throw and knock one in at the end of the ACC tournament. It's kind of personal to me, but the best performance I ever saw was those Jerry Tarkanian's UNLV teams. We played them 2 and 3 times a year. That was, Greg Anthony and Larry Johnson and Ackles and Anderson Hunt and Stacey Augman. They dominated the game. The speed that they played with offensively and defensively, they disrupted you, whether it was in their man, where they didn't let you run offense, or the amoeba. One of my favorite great stories of the stupidity of Seth Greenberg, and a lot of stories of the stupidity of Seth Greenberg, is my first year as a head coach. I invited the university president, President McCray, to sit on my bench for our first UNLV game.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it wasn't a good thing. We were down 30 at the half. I gave a great pregame speech. He was all in, and he was right there with us, down 30 at the half. First year head coach. I look at the end of the bench. We're down 30. Not only did I know we were losing the game, I thought I was losing my job. But I survived that, thank goodness. But that UNLV team was just different. Offensively, this Gonzaga team is just different.
Will they be viewed as one of the great teams of all time if they run the schedule here?
Yeah, they should, because so few teams have been able to do that, especially in recent history. Now, people are going to say, look, they play in the West Coast Conference. People are going to say they are playing against a different group of players. I mean, think about it. I had this conversation with Jay Will today. Jay Will's great Duke teams, all right, we're juniors and seniors. We have some good junior and senior teams, but the best teams in college basketball, or a lot of the teams in college basketball, are sophomore and freshman driven. The college basketball has gotten younger. Now, look, Villanova won with upperclassmen. Obviously, North Carolina the year they won with upperclassmen. And it looks like Gonzaga or Baylor or Michigan can win with upperclassmen. Yeah, you can win with upperclassmen, but the very best dudes, the guys that are translating into the NBA and are killing it in the NBA, today those guys are all leaving before their junior years. So they're not playing against the same level. Yet I look at this team offensively, and it's just, as a basketball purist, it's beautiful basketball. The flow that they have, they don't reset. It's modern day basketball. It's got a little European tint to it in terms of the stylistic, but so does the NBA now. It's positionless basketball. The ball moves. It doesn't get stuck. They don't reset. You don't see a high ball screen with 10 seconds left on the clock. It's transition. Boom. The ball's moving. There's great spacing. There's random screens. There's random on and off the ball. It's just they are different. I do think that Michigan's got a shot at them, and I do think that Baylor's got a shot at them. I think those two teams have the greatest, because Baylor's got the best backcourt in college basketball.
Seth, great to talk to you again, and good luck with Billis, okay?
I have no case.
Thank you, bud.
I appreciate it, man.
That's Seth Greenberg from the Mothership.